Let's move on to a classic IP.
That is Robocop Rogue City.
Robocop Rogue City. Can I start it this time?
Please do it.
What the heck? I'm just going to start with what the heck is this game?
I was literally going to start the same way. Go ahead.
That's so funny. Okay, so this game is a first-person action shooter as Robocop.
Yes.
First question I had, how does this IP or this franchise get a game that has not been talked about in years? When's the last time you ever heard Robocop?
1993 was the last Robocop movie released.
Okay, but when's the last time you specifically talked about Robocop?
1994, maybe.
And that's what I mean. It's so funny. This is a franchise that nobody's talking about, but all of a sudden they're getting a huge massive game. It's all right. I mean, I'm for it. I'm kind of interested in a game like this, but it's not a big franchise that people are talking about nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, that was my number one question. It's is RoboCop too old to be cool?
Yeah, is it relevant enough to even have a game?
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with it. Yeah. Now, for me, I'm an old man. We've been over this before. I'm an old man, so I know RoboCop.
I've seen a lot of the RoboCops. I don't remember them probably as well as you do, but I've seen. How many are there? Are there 3?
There are 3 movies. Yeah, RoboCop.
I think I've seen at least 2, maybe the 3rd. Yeah. Could I tell you anything about them right now? No, but
I'll probably catch some slack in the comments from the RoboCop fans. 1 was good, 2 was so-so, 3 was an absolute disaster. So
okay. So with that said, let's pull the trailer of this game. It takes place. This game is taking place between 1 and 2. So maybe they're you know what? 1 was so good. The people that created the game, 1 was so great. Let's put it right after that one and kind of go off that storyline. They're let's forget about 2 and 3 for this game. And
that's 100% what I was thinking. Like I said, 1 is good, 2 is so-so, 3 is absolute garbage. So I'm thinking maybe they were you know what, 1 was so good, let's do a sequel that's let's do RoboCop 2, but do it as a game and do it better.
Yeah, right. And I think that's what they tried doing with this. So let's go ahead and pull this trailer up. There's a lot of things to talk about this. I have a lot more to talk about this than probably any of the games that we're talking about tonight. But let's roll the trailer.
Let's roll the trailer.
And this is the trailer. There is 16 minutes of gameplay on it too. So if you really want to see a deep dive, which I'll talk about some of that as well.
Yeah.
But it takes place in Detroit, obviously, and
I love the nostalgia.
Yeah, and I think that's where we're going with this game. Yeah.
Yeah. Even the TVs, the CRTVs, and looking at the computers, and this is definitely 1990.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I like that.
Right.
And the character model looks great.
Oh yeah, I agree. It looks very similar to what the 90s franchise is.
Yeah. Drop it, scum.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, if you're just watching, or listening on the Spotify, we're getting a pretty accurate representation of a RoboCop movie right now. Complete with cheesy one-liners, insane action, as you would expect.
And they have his classic pistol. What's the name of the pistol?
The Auto 9.
Yeah, the Auto 9.
Yeah,
and so we'll talk about that a little bit more, but. And I would say they're staying very authentic to what RoboCop is, minus a couple of things that we're going to talk about. But overall, the trailer looks, like you said, very nostalgic. You get a sense that you're playing as RoboCop in a game, and also coming soon. So
yeah, I mean, I think they did a great job. Just kind of making sure that everything was period-esque. I'm kind of a weirdo and I love doing this. I kind of like looking for things that are out of place. I did this a lot on Stranger Things where I was like
Yeah.
I was trying to find like something that they left in the background by mistake that was like not of
Yeah.
that time period. And I'm
Right.
like looking around and couldn't find anything. Even like the phone on the wall was like, oh my God, we had that phone in my kitchen. Like it was so
Right.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was so
Did
crazy.
you see? So in what one was it? Did you see in The Last of Us, the game or the movie or the TV show?
Which
One of the
one?
scenes, the TV show,
Oh
one of the
yeah,
episodes,
yeah.
Last of Us. Did you see that? The mistake they made. You could see the camera crew in one of the scenes.
Really?
Yeah, it was like
No.
the back left of the background. You could see the camera crew, the
Oh
tents, and everything,
no.
and it made it to the production. But anyway, I digress. But
That's a whoopsies.
yeah, and so what this game is essentially you're playing as RoboCop, and it's a first-person shooter, like we already said.
Yep.
If you're expecting to move fast in this game, don't play it. You're gonna play very tanky, bullet sponge, and I mean that's RoboCop. And the way you kind of survive as you play is you get to pick up battery packs, and that's your life. The more you pick up, like you keep using those to stay alive.
Yep.
And one thing, so you have your pistol, your Auto 9, but you can use other weapons. But from what I like watched and what interviews I've seen, you almost don't need anything else except for your Auto 9.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you can use these other weapons, but it's almost pointless because you are a beast with this. Like you're almost like a boss playing NPCs, and I think that's pretty cool. The game will have some puzzle and crime solving elements which weren't really described or shown in the gameplay like showcase. I think the destruction physics of the game are also really cool. So things blow up, things fall, rocks are breaking, really cool. Yeah, and like I said, you'll be able to use the environments to kill people, so you can shoot off the wall, the bullets ricochet, all that stuff. Very nostalgic of RoboCop, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head here. I have actually a lot of the same notes here. It feels slow. So the thing, the people that played it said it feels slow. It feels like a bullet sponge. But honestly, that's what RoboCop is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're looking for like a tactical shooter where you're looking for cover, and you're trying to snipe around a corner and stuff like that, that's not RoboCop. I mean, RoboCop was a cheap like 80s action movie where RoboCop would just bust through the door and be like, "Oh, I am RoboCop." Bah, 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 bah.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
all the bad guys would be like just like shooting him, and the bullets are just bouncing off, and he's like, "Get on the ground, scum!" Like it's like exactly what you want in a cheesy 80s movie. So I feel like that's fine. And yeah, they give you different options, but like you like I understand where people would be like a little bit upset about, like the, maybe the Auto 9's a little OP, but also if you're playing a RoboCop game and like you're true to the nostalgia, why would you want to use a different weapon?
Right.
You know what I mean? If you like playing as Donatello and being like, I don't want to use the bow staff, like I want to use something else. You're like, why? Why would you want to do that? It makes no sense. So
I agree. I want to use an M16 as Donatello.
Yeah, right. It's just like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Like that's why I picked Donatello, because I like purple and I like his personality and I like the bow staff. Like it's cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm okay with that.
One thing that I was kind of like questioning, so RoboCop, like he's like straight force, right? And things like that. Like he doesn't go in there. He doesn't do the detective side of things, right? Typically. Like I said, I haven't seen him in a while.
He does do the detective side of things.
Okay, so my next point was going to be kind of pointless then. So I won't even make this next point.
Yeah.
But kind of going off of that, so you have to like be a detective, solve puzzles, and there's choices that you make that, like, let's say you let somebody go, or you arrest them. Like those choices will affect the end game of like the ends. Yeah, affect the end game essentially. So that's kind of cool. I like those games that do that. And it's like it gives it that replay value of like, oh, what if I would have picked a different, and what if I would have let this guy go? Would have changed certain aspects of the game, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think that's cool too. And I think like having those options as a player is kind of cool. I hate when you're playing a game and then they give you all of these options and, like you're really kind of thinking about it and you're really kind of thinking about like, what would you do if you're in that situation? Like, would you let them go? Would you take them in? Like, all of this stuff, and then you find out like online that you're like, oh, none of my choices really mattered. You know what I mean? Like, I hate that so much. And you're just like, well, that was kind of dumb.
I agree. And it stinks. So as much as I think that's really cool, I am the worst about making decisions like that. I'm very indecisive. And then when I do make a decision like that, I'm like, wait, why did I do that? I want to go back. Turn off the PlayStation. Turn everything off. Hopefully it didn't save. I want to go back. And so that's why, like, that's such a cool concept, but for me as an indecisive person and very impulsive, it's really hard. But it's still a cool concept. You know what I mean?
It's definitely a cool concept, and it gets you invested in the game. Like, would you rather have a game of choices where, like, maybe you've made the wrong choice and, like, that has affected your gameplay? Or would you rather play a game where you make a bunch of choices and then you find out at the end that none of them really mattered?
Right. Yeah. Right. And I think that's how I've been playing Cyberpunk. I'm like, does it really matter when I've been playing? Like, I've been playing that quite a bit, and I'm like, okay, do I pick this choice or this choice? Okay, I don't care. And then I skip through, like, because I'm like, I don't think a game of that size really matters in the end. I haven't beat it. I'm still playing it. So let me know if I'm completely wrong and it does actually make a huge impact on the game. And I'm just like, oops.
I feel like Cyberpunk, not to stray too far away, but I do feel like some of the choices that you make from what I've seen do affect the gameplay, but not many.
Okay, so then I'm not worried about it because I'm sure I'll get to the end result anyway.
But I really like that. And, like you said, RoboCop does do detective work. I mean, it's a lot like, he's got the scanner and stuff, so he can scan the series, the scene for evidence and stuff like that.
Right.
They didn't really showcase any of the detective work and anything that I saw, which is a little bit disappointing because, I would be kind of curious to know what that is. But it is part of the game. Also, like you said, the puzzle aspect is part of the game. So if you're looking for like puzzles and stuff like that, not just nonstop action that is in the game as well. They describe the puzzles as like maybe defusing bombs or something like that, kind of like mini game style stuff. And I like the puzzles. I like that. I like that stuff. It's like a break in the like explosive blow up everything, shoot guns firing everything, right, blowing up down in your a little face.
Bit, and it gives it another element to make it worth playing because like you get like. Essentially, you could, going back to roguelikes, you could have made this game a roguelike. You know what I mean?
You could have, yeah.
Just go straight through, try to blow up as far as you can, and then go back. But no, it's making it that RPG element where it gives you some substance to really think about what's going on in the environment, to focus on the story a little bit. I think it works for RoboCop, and I think it's gonna be a fun game to play.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun, and they've hinted at some very cool things that you can do. They do have a breach mechanic that they talked about, which I love that idea. To just put anything in slow motion, and I'm such a like, oh my god, so cool. Like
120 frames per second. Here we go.
To put anything in 120 B-roll style, and I'm just like, I'm in love. But it's a breach mechanic.
It's Dave taking a poop, and he's like, I'm going to have my poop in slow motion in the toilet. Oh, I love it.
Put anything in 120 FPS, and I'm just like, amazing.
We're still recording our podcast at 120 frames per second.
Welcome to the Dark Nerdy. But I think it's cool. The breach mechanic. Basically, what's gonna happen is like you can, as RoboCop, you can kind of scan through the wall and get a layout, a lot like Arkham style. You can get a layout of where all the enemies are. Use this breach mechanic where you bust through the wall. It turns into slow motion. And that's just lock it in, headshots all around. So I like that stuff. That's cool. Yeah. And it's gonna give you everything that you want, I think, out of like this cheesy kind of 80s style action genre. And that's I mean, I know the last RoboCop movie came out in 93, but the first one came out in 88. I believe
something like that.
Yeah, something like that. 87 or 88. So it lines up with that cheesy 80s action movie kind of stuff. And I think they've represented that well in the game. I mean, just like the cheesy, just like the 80s style movies, there's cheesy one-liners. The destruction mechanics are crazy. Like literally everything explodes. Like anything that you see on screen explodes. you can do like really kind of silly things too, where like this is going to be kind of hard to explain, but the one example that they gave is like you can pick up a trash can and like throw it at a guy.
It across the room.
Yeah, you can like throw it across the room at a guy on a motorcycle and knock him off. And it's like that, like as an 80s movie fan, that's just such a scene that I can see play out so easily in the movie where RoboCop's like, you know, one of the guys is trying to get away on a motorcycle and RoboCop just takes a trash can and like throws it and then looks back and is like, time to take out the trash, or, you know, like something like that. Yeah, something stupid like that. So I do think they're going to give you everything that you want in this game. So I'm actually kind of excited for this one.
And I think I'm going to get it. I think this is definitely going to be one that I will play.